It's Friday! Oh, yeah! It's freaking Friday! It's Friday, folks. It's Friday. Hey, you know what? It's a great day to be alive, folks. It's Friday. You know, that means tomorrow's Saturday. And let me tell you something. Welcome to the show. We got a lot to cover today. It's a great day to be excited because yesterday, the Supreme Court gave us a wonderful decision. Look, there's a lot of great things happening amongst all this chaos. We're going to talk about it. We got a lot to talk about today in this 1 hour. But first, we got to go to Eric Thompson, the producer extraordinaire. How are you, sir?
Doing well, and it's a very interesting how the left is reacting to the court decision.
The court decision, folks, affirmative action at colleges is done, and that means affirmative action is done. You're going to see it's going to fall like dominoes, and we're going to all over the country, and we're going to discuss some things that are happening right now and where Biden's been going with this. You're going to see some court cases that you may not have been aware of, but there's a lot of things that the left was trying to do with affirmative action. Weaponize. Look, it's a weapon against the minority. It isn't for the minority. It's against the minority. But today I'm going to behave myself, Eric. I'm not going to start the show going off script, even though I kind of am right now. I'm going to turn it over to you, Eric. What's the format? Where are we going first? We're going to talk about the Supreme Court, right? That's where we're going.
Yeah, we're going to go over the Supreme Court decision, but I wanted to ask you some questions about the 14th Amendment and how it's been so abused by the left that this is why they are freaking out. There's even we're going to get to it. They even left a possible weapon or some type of explosive device on the steps of the Supreme Court following their decision. Yeah.
Okay. So is the question the 14th Amendment? Well, look, we've talked about it on the show, folks. The 14th Amendment has been misinterpreted and then weaponized against you and I, against the Republic. You could see it on the border. You could see it in affirmative action. And you could see that it's not done any good. It's not doing any good for our sovereignty on the border, and it's not done any good for minorities bettering their lives. The 14th Amendment is absolutely been weaponized for decades, and now we think it's going to start coming to an end. So what do we got on that? Where are we going?
Well, so the actual story that everyone is upset about on the left is the Supreme Court strikes down affirmative action at colleges. The only black conservative Supreme Court Justice, Clarence Thomas, is again insisting that the Constitution must be colorblind.
Yes, it has to be. It's the only way it works.
So, according to the article here from the Craig Bouchon website,
like that.
That's right. The Supreme Court preferences in college admissions violates the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution. The Supreme Court decided Thursday in a historic decision with profound implications for racial preferences in many areas of law and public policy. This overturned a 1978 college admissions decision in the Bake decision, which allowed schools to be able to say, you are the low 10%. You're in the bottom 10% of applicant qualifications. But you get in. I'm sorry, Mr. Man from China. You're 100% of everything we were looking for, but you don't get in.
That's right. And let's understand why that is, folks. Because you would think, well, why is it not good? How are the Democrats, how have they weaponized affirmative action against minorities, specifically black people? It's because it allowed them to not put money into the education system to help blacks become better students, have better community involvement, which means they have better schools, better PTAs, better money going into their community, to have better playgrounds on the park, have actual grass in the playgrounds and not dirt. They allowed them not to have to put money into the school system. It allowed them to showcase, hey, look what we're doing to help the black folks. They're not, we're helping them get in, even though they don't meet the qualifications. Well, they don't meet the qualifications because the Democrats have kept black people down. They purposely have kept them a minority, and it's wrong, and it's going to end now. And now, hopefully, we're going to see the money, because the money that they've spent, is in the millions and millions and millions of dollars. How much money have they spent with affirmative action since the beginning? Do we have that number?
Well, from the time that President Lyndon Johnson declared his war on poverty, and the Economic Opportunity Act, according to the Texas policy group, when you adjust it for inflation, about $25 trillion.
$25 trillion
to fight poverty since 1964.
So $25 trillion, folks, has been stolen from taxpayers, not given to black communities, and instead why do you think people like Nancy Pelosi, for example, and the Harry Reids that are now gone, who fell on his treadmill, why are they so rich? Because they funnel money places, okay? The Biden thing we're seeing right now, they're funneling money places. Where does all this money go? Where does $25 trillion, what's it, 12 zeros, I think, on a trillion?
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is unbelievable amount of money. Well, it has not gone to where it's supposed to go. So who's going to fix that problem? We're going to fix that problem. The Republican Party's going to have to fix that problem, and us citizens are going to have to fix that problem. $25 trillion is absolutely, it's egregious what's happened. And you have more poor black people today, percentage-wise, than you did then. What's the stat difference? Do you have that, like what the stat was then versus now?
No, they were just
all these years of affirmative action.
They were just saying prior to this declared war on poverty, the rate of poverty was actually going down in the Hispanic communities and the black communities and the all the disenfranchised, or whatever you want to call the communities. But the country was already working itself out through capitalism, and then the Big Brother went in and started infusing this printed magical money, and it actually backfired, and the community's worse off today than it was in 1964.
Well, think about the MO. Okay, what's the motive of the Democrat Party? And I'm not talking about the Democrat Party of Kennedy. I'm not. They're much more conservative then than they are, by far, than they are now. There's no doubt about that. So let's understand that the current Democrat Party has been taken over, and it's been going on for a few decades now. And so when you look at the amount of money that's been spent and the amount and the percentage of poor black people and uneducated or undereducated is a better way of putting it, undereducated black people, that puts them at a disadvantage, that allows them to, it forces them to have to be a ward of the state because they can't get the right jobs, they can't grow their communities, they can't rise themselves up in this land of opportunity because they're being suppressed by the Democrat Party and these crooked leaders. It's just that simple.
And the interesting thing about the decision and the reaction is the court. It was a very simple decision for them, because the 14th Amendment says this, and it was written to make sure that former slaves and their children would be considered whole citizens and having all the rights. So the 14th Amendment says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state where they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, and property without due process of law, nor deny any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. So the Supreme Court says, well, you can't you can't prevent Asian students from getting into school because they're Asian.
And because their grades are better.
You can't, but you
And
can't do it simply because they're
100%.
Asian. Where's the due
Absolutely.
process for all persons? And that's, but people somehow are upset, even though that's the plain language of the Constitution, of the 14th Amendment.
Well, they're upset because they have been able to get away with keeping minorities in check, keeping them where they want. So every single election, they'll keep voting for them. And when they start running out of them, see, you'll notice something. Let's just really look at what's happened here. Every time we get momentum going and we start going in the right direction to better the society for everybody, they do something to shut it down. They something catastrophic happens and they weaponize it against society. For example, this country is not that racist. Is it racist at all? Yeah. Every country has levels of racism in it, all of them. But we are decreasing dramatically and heading in the right direction. And when the enemy knows this, the enemy is going to use what's the saying? Don't let any tragedy go to waste, right? Don't let any tragedy go to waste. So you saw it when you have a black person who gets accosted, or a one particular police officer does something that they shouldn't do, and it's blown way out of proportion because they have to weaponize that type of thing against you to let you think that the country's a lot worse than it is. And because they have the media is culpable in this, all right? So the media won't let you see the truth and the facts. So when people are only seeing that, oh my gosh, it's the racist police, defund the police, it's because they're uneducated. It's an example of being uneducated. When your media doesn't give you the information, it's the wisdom that you need. The media is supposed to give you the truth, the facts, extra, read all about it, and just the facts, ma'am. Please, would you just give us the facts? You had to have the information, correct information, so you can make the right decision. But because segments of our society, for whatever reason and for many reasons, have been compartmentalized, tribalized, and they only have access, and they believe, to certain sources that they believe that they can trust. And those sources, unfortunately, are the ones who are actually suppressing them, and to quote Joe Biden, putting them back in chains, right? Chains today are different. Chains of many years ago, when slavery was horrifically being done and people were shackled, and not just blacks, by the way, throughout time, many people of all different colors and backgrounds were slaves. But in this country, there's a big focus on African Americans and black people being enslaved. But the fact is, there's other ways of being enslaved. All the enemy did, it was transfer the shackles, the steel shackles that people had to drag around, and they put shackles of economic stress on them. The shackle of getting bad information, lying, cheating, stealing the truth from these people so they can't make the right decision. So your education is more than just the book that you read in class. The First Amendment to the Constitution is one of the most powerful things to let you understand what the 14th Amendment is, and that's through education and understanding. But if the media doesn't show you in real time the truth, and it steers that information incorrectly, dishonestly, that is the weaponization of education. Does that make sense? Education is more than just school. It's also media. You learn from what you see and what you hear. And then people take action on that. And this affirmative action has been the biggest lie to affect in modern times. $25 trillion has been spent, and black people are worse off today. And that is egregious. It's wrong. And we're going to unite with them, and we are going to fix that problem.
Thomas, he joined Roberts' opinion, but he also wrote a separate a paragraph here to go along with the majority's decision. I think it's very telling. It says, quote, in the wake of the Civil War, the country focused its attention on restoring the Union and establishing the legal status of newly freed slaves. The Constitution was amended to abolish slavery and proclaim that all persons born in the United States are citizens entitled to the privileges or immunities of citizenship and the equal protection of the laws. Because of the second founding, our Constitution is colorblind and neither knows nor tolerates classes among citizens.
Right. But let's also understand the misinterpretation that people say about that. That when an illegal alien comes across the border and has an anchor baby, that baby is now an American citizen. Right?
Right, and that's the abuse.
What?
What's that's the when I did read
weaponization, the misrepresentation of the 14th Amendment.
I think the one who put forth the amendment was a senator in Michigan, and in debate on the floor, when asked about if ambassadors from other countries or illegal aliens could be included in this 14th Amendment protection, he said, "Of course, we're not going to include them," but they didn't vote it. They didn't put it in the language.
Right. Well, look, folks. There's an old saying, don't be a useful idiot. What does that mean? How can you be a useful idiot? Well, it's when you see something's wrong, you know something's wrong, and you do nothing about it. And when you do nothing about it, you're helping, you're being useful to the enemy. And they would go, what is that person, an idiot? Why aren't they fixing the problem? Well, for far too long, we, the people, have been allowing ourselves, in a sense, to be kind of a useful idiot. We're sitting back. We go, I voted. I'm good. Don't worry about it. It's all good. I'm going to go back to work now, or I'm going to go do whatever. Wait, hold on a second. What level are you on? I got to find Candy Crush. Hold on 1 second. Level 4006. Look, folks. All of this stuff, down to the video game on your phone called Candy Crush, is designed to keep your attention off the ball. They want us to be useful idiots. They want us to be there to pay taxes. They want us to be there to supply the money to do these boondoggles. And think about it this way. They're spending so much money that we had the debt clock on here the other day. What was it? 31 trillion?
I'll look it up again. While you're talking.
$30+ trillion. It's unbelievable. And you think, well, 25 trillion has been spent just on affirmative action, and it doesn't work. You know, Mitt Romney, to me, missed a huge opportunity, and I think it's one of the reasons that he lost the election when he ran. It's one of the reasons, and this is it. You remember, Eric, when he was caught on video through a window, if I remember it right, and he said that, I don't really care about those poor people. They're not going to vote for me anyway. Wasn't that kind of the gist of it?
Yeah, there was the lower bracket or something.
Yeah, the lower echelons, he
wasn't going to get them anyway. Yeah.
Oh, there it is, 32.2 trillion. Oh, my gosh. But I don't want to lose my train of thought, because it's an important thing about what Mitt Romney, what he missed. And the Republican Party missed as well. And it's what Donald Trump said to them. He kind of connected a dot. And I thought about this when I was on air in Austin, Texas at the time. And I think I had Mr. 999, God rest his soul. He had been on the show. And Mitt Romney he's the man. He's the guy that's going to be running for office or represent the Republican Party. And that moment happened and the bottom just fell out. At least that was the excuse. Well, what he should have said and what Republicans need to say is, I see you. I see you. If Mitt Romney would have said, I see you. Those people may not like me now because they think I'm wealthy and they think that I have all these advantages, but I'm going to let them know that I see them. I'm going to let them know that I believe in them. I'm going to let them know that I understand. Not that I've been in their shoes, but I understand the situation. And I am going to teach you how to generate wealth. I'm going to teach you how to become wealthier than you are today. I'm going to show you. We're going to put systems in place to help you. We're going to get rid of the boondoggles. And I'm going to make it the agenda of my administration to go and help the least wealthy amongst us, the ones that are oppressed. I'm going to help you. If he would have said that, Eric, if the Republican Party would say things like that and then do it, I think we'd have a much better relationship with the poor people in this country. But we have not been saying that. So Donald Trump, what did he do? He's basically said to affirmative action, what are you doing, folks? He said to black people, he said, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose? Look what they've done to you for generations. Vote for me. I am going to teach you and help you and make this a better country for you. That's the message of hope, folks. That's the hope and change. Sorry, Obama. That really needs to happen. Not this divide, this division, this divide and conquer that's happening today. And, the courts, Joe Biden, they're all over the place, right? I think, did you mention earlier that there's court cases all over that they're trying to push affirmative action, right?
There was a New York Times article that a federal judge halts Biden's administration's minority farmer relief program because it was unconstitutional, because the loans and the grants would only go to minority farmers, and any farmer that was light-skinned would be denied simply because of their race.
That's right.
A judge said, no, that's unconstitutional.
That's right. Unconstitutional. And, so they've been trying this for a long time, and they've had some success, by the way. And obviously they've been able to spend $25 trillion. But thank God it's going to come to an end. Thank God. And folks, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about Confused Joe. Confused Joe. That's where we're going to go. You can't make this stuff up, folks. It's like Comedy Central on this freaking Friday, man. It's Friday. Oh, I love Fridays. I really do. It used to mean a lot more when I was younger, though. I will say that is true. But hey, when we come back, we're going to tell you what I'm talking about when I say Confused Joe. We'll be back in a minute.
Made it right. Suddenly I see the light. Now when I'm walking home to
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success. And now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows Regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.
Welcome back, folks. My Pillow. You know, you see My Pillow stuff all over the place. I got to tell you something just real quick. I had the original My Pillow. I did years ago, and I wasn't a big fan. I wasn't. I was like, it's okay. So I didn't have one, and I now have the My Pillow 2.0. And I absolutely love it. It's a fact. It's fantastic. I sleep well. It's really that good. You can trust me that it's a quality product. And you can go on, you can get the biggest discounts there is. Just punch in, type in Bouchon, and you get it. So it's fantastic. I'm sleeping on it tonight. I slept on it last night. I've been sleeping on it. It's fantastic. Okay, back to the show. Well, Confused Joe, Eric. Confused Joe on this Friday. What are we talking about when we say Confused Joe? Because it's kind of scary, actually. And I'm the first one to say that I think he's also a great actor, for sure, like many politicians. But let's talk about Confused Joe for a minute, Eric.
Well, all the news outlets covered this because the White House immediately tried to push Joe. They must have woke him up from his nap and got the strap marks off his face this time because you can't see him. And they rushed him out there to try to say that this was a terrible decision by the court. The problem is when you put Joe out there without a teleprompter.
That's a fact.
He's going to say something. So he was on MSNBC. Nicole Wallace was speaking with him, and he kind of confused the Constitution with the Declaration of Independence.
Okay, let's hear Joe. Let's hear Confused Joe.
Here he is. Here's a little Twitter video showing Joe's confusion.
Okay. I mean, I think some of your former Senate colleagues on the Judiciary Committee would go as far as to say that it's anti-democratic. Do you agree with that?
Well, you know, if I say it's anti-democratic, then it gets
in a lot of trouble.
No, but it is. Its value system is different, and its respect for institutions is different, and in that sense, it is not as embracing of all what I think the Constitution says. We hold these truths to be self. All men and women are created equal, endowed by their Creator. It's a uniqueness of America. We never fully lived up to it. We never walked away from it, and this court seems to say that no, that's not always the case. The idea there's no right of privacy in the Constitution, giving states power that we fought a war over in 1860. You know, I just think it's this is not your father's Republican Party.
So Joe just looks, he's like he's hanging on that entire conversation.
Well, you can't complete his point. You know, we hold these truths to be self, and then he goes, and he wanders on to another thing. He's not completing the statement, you know, and you know
it was the wrong document in the first place.
Right.
It was the Declaration of Independence. It's not the Constitution.
That's right. Well,
he's only the president. I mean, that shouldn't matter, should it?
Look, these people. We've said it multiple times, folks, on this show. We're going to have to keep saying it. We're going to have to keep pointing it out. These people, they're just faking it. Kamala Harris is the same way. They're faking it. Her cackly laugh is really because she's nervous. It's because she knows she shouldn't be there. She uses the laughter to get her through her ignorance. She doesn't know what to say, so she just laughs. And you can see it, and it's embarrassing because she's a fraud. There's no chance whatsoever that she there's no reason that she should be the vice president of this country. And then when you look at Biden is propped up for sure in a very questionable election that we had. in 2020. And you can see that this guy, he just doesn't have it together. There's no doubt about that. But I'm also telling you folks, he's not stupid. Don't feel sorry for him. He knows what he's doing. God forbid he had all of his faculties, because trust me, they're not having to convince him. They're not duping him. They're not having to convince him, oh, sure glad Joe doesn't know what we're doing. And then we're just going to make him say it. And then, yeah, good thing he doesn't have all his faculties. Otherwise, he'd never do it. Incorrect. He would absolutely do it. He would do it with vigor. He would do it. He would do it so good. He would be exceptional at lying to you because he's been doing it for 50 years. All right. So, so when you look at the confused Joe, and it's not, when you confuse the Declaration of Independence or the Bill of Rights and the U.S. Constitution, and they're all in that same kind of era, some could say, well, yeah, so what? Well, it's the combination of all the things that are happening that it just makes him confused Joe. But again, part of that could be absolutely acting. He's pretending to be dumber than he is, sly like a fox, right? Isn't that the saying? But it is funny, and it is humorous, and I'm sure Saturday Night Live, which I don't watch at all anymore, and haven't watched it in years. Hopefully, they're using these things as skits. But I want to move on to more important things. Okay, the banking industry. Do you mind if I go right there? Are we good with that, Eric? I want to talk about the banking industry while we have less than 30 minutes left in the show.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know that he said the court is not normal. That it is.
That's right. Sorry.
They asked if if the court had gone rogue. So let me show you real quick his. I'm
please,
our commander in chief trying to explain what he meant by that statement.
Without further ado, the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is very exciting for us.
Exciting for me.
You said today, and I know that you have a lot of power, but I can't imagine you manufactured the breaking news about the court. You said this court is not normal. What did you mean?
What I meant by that is it's done more to unravel basic rights and basic decisions than any court in recent history. And that's what I meant by not normal. It's gone out of its way to, I mean, for example, take a look at overruling Roe v. Wade. Take a look at what the decision today. Take a look at how it's ruled on a number of issues that have been precedent for 50, 60 years sometimes.
Okay, not to carry it on, but basically his point is because they are actually ruling in accordance with the Constitution, they are not normal, liberal.
What if I said I agree with him? I agree with him when he says they're not normal. He's right. Because what's been normal in this country, folks, for way too long is the absolute misrepresentation and the lack of defense of the U.S. Constitution. So the many, many, many decades of very poor leadership in the Supreme Court, listen, the Supreme Court who allowed Roe v. Wade to be passed it's disgusting. And it's an example of just how bad politics can be in this country when the wrong people are in power. So it is abnormal. It's not normal to them. And they've been able to do this for decades. So when I say the world is upside down and I'm tired of the blood rushing to my head, I mean that it's abnormal. It is not normal to be living your life upside down. And that's what's been happening. So now that we're seeing, thank you, Donald Trump, absolutely, to give us these justices, this 6-3 vote, that is gigantic. And now we're starting to write things back to where that pendulum needs to swing back, because it's been way too far, I guess, from your perspective, to the left. And so it is abnormal to them. And they're going to freak out. Don't be surprised if there's not some type of violence that happens. Do not be surprised if you don't see some places burn. I hope not. I really hope not. I hope that the people who have been injured by affirmative action watch this show and watch the other people out there that are telling you and explain to you that it was a lie. It was never meant to help you. Now we're going to help. Now we're going to get engaged. Now we, the people, are going to unite. Now I need all of the African Americans and minorities out there to go to americaican.com and get engaged, because this movement is about all of us, about all of us winning. And these liars and these thieves, these manipulators, these people, they've been duping too many people for too long. And so he's right. It is a little abnormal. Well, I'll take it, because I'm going to tell you something, folks. You can see the tide shifting. Now we're getting some momentum. So expect something major to happen, folks. This 2024 election, expect something and don't be duped by it. The devil's the great deceiver. You saw what the enemy did in the last election with COVID. Don't think that they don't have something planned for 2024, because you are now getting more information today and you're waking up. Forget these woke wacko birds twisting and manipulating what really waking up is. You're waking up, and that scares the hell out of them. No doubt about it. And that's why the banking system, is it okay that I move on for that? I want to talk about the banking system.
Oh,
We
for
don't have
sure.
much time here
Yeah.
left. I'm going to tell you something. The banking system is, you saw what happened with the SVB, okay? The Silicon Valley Bank. You saw that, and others that went under. The 100 largest U.S. banks by consolidated assets. Pull that up there so that people can see that. Here's the kind of the largest U.S. banks. Pause right there. You got J.P. Morgan Chase, 3.3 trillion. Bank of America, 2.5 trillion. Citibank, 1.7. Wells Fargo, 1.7. So you have these big, Truist, which just consolidated two banks into one. These banks are consolidating into these big, giant powerhouses. JP Morgan Chase, who are they involved with? BlackRock. There's a lot of collusion happening within the banking industry with BlackRock, with ESG, environmental social governance, and these. It's all about consolidating power at the top. Remember this right here? Remember that? We've talked about this. That is where they want it. They want the power at the top. This is what we are, okay? We are at the top. We are the powerful in the United States of America, in the Republic. So keep scrolling down, please. And you start seeing it get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. See it go down at the bottom? All those small little banks, that's your local banks, okay? Local banks, your what we used to call savings and loans, and of course they went away. But your local bank, your credit unions, your medium-sized banks, those are the ones. The super majority of all small business loans happen at your regional bank and your small banks, not at these big behemoths. All right, they're not there to empower the small business. They're there to empower big business. They're there to grow the mega corporations so they get more and more powerful. Okay, and they have to get rid of these small banks and these regional banks if you're going to get the digital currency. It's about digital currency, folks. It's about you not being able to go down to the bank and withdraw whatever amount of money you want in tangible cash, okay, and take it home and go buy something with it, stick it in your mattress, bury it in your yard, whatever you want to do. It's in God we trust is on that money, right? And they want that to go away, because they want to be able to track every single penny. They want to know where it's going, when it's going, and they also want to be able to control how you get it, how you store it. Because if they can do that, that's your very survival. It's about controlling your every waking moment. And look, you could wake up. See, if I take $500 out of my bank account or $50,000 of bank account, and I get it in cash, and I take it home, and I just set it aside, okay? And I say, that's my own little safety net. Say there's something happens in the grid, and electronics goes down, and all of a sudden there's no power, and I have no access to go get my digital currency. And I could go to my closet, I could go in my mattress, wherever I have my money, and I have tangible cash that I can carry around with me. That gives me power. When your money is controlled by these behemoth corporations that are teamed up with big business, big government, and the World Economic Forum, all of the horrible things that are happening to push on our liberties, we cannot allow this to happen. You need to pull your money out of, if you have money in big banks, you have to pull your money out, put it in a credit union, put it into your sock drawer, put it into a small or regional bank. Empower them. The way your power is, I don't care if it's $50, $500, or $50,000, or $500,000. Get it out of the banks. What do you have here? Social contract to transform our world by 2030. So what are they telling us? Is that good news, Eric? Is it good when they're saying transform our world by 2030? Is that good news?
Now, Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, said in 1971, the goal is that capitalism must be replaced, and the world must be under a new world order. It must by 2030 now they have a social contract between Canada, France, Newsom in California to force the change by 2030.
That's right, 100%.
7 years.
I wish we had the time to play this whole video. I'm sure it's extremely motivating, folks. It's going to make you feel very comfortable. But the answer is no, we don't have time. And you don't have time. You have to take that time and go get your money and go put it into a small bank. Go put it where they're making you scared to go put it, because that's their goal. Their goal is, no, your only safe place to put your money is in the big mothership, the big bank. And that is not true. Find your credit union, which is a nonprofit. Put it there. It's just a fact. You have to do it. And you could be caught. You could have a mortgage to one of these big companies. Well, as soon as you can, move it. Okay? Just do what you can. Or if you have to have an account at those big banks for some reason, whatever, and it'll take you time to get removed from them, go take your money that you have, some extra money, and start putting it into those smaller banks. Fact. Have to do it. So, because the banks are vaporizing. The small banks are vaporizing. That means your liberty is going to vaporize. And we can't allow that to happen. Not in this country. And when we come back, I know, what do we got left here? Well, we got about 15, 17 minutes somewhere in there left. And when we come back from break, I know that Eric has a few questions. He always does. And we are going to see you in just a few minutes. And we'll be back.
If you study history, in particular, just most recently, you look at what happened in Russia, the Russian Revolution, right? Alexander Solzhenitsyn teaches us, and history teaches us, the issue of the day was getting rid of God first in order for communism to take over. You go forward a few years later in history with Adolf Hitler. What was the first thing the Third Reich was doing was silencing and getting rid of the church, God, if you will. And now what we're seeing in the United States of America is the exact same thing.
Amen.
Let's get rid of God, because if you can get rid of God, if you can silence and weaken the church, then all of a sudden the satanic plan for globalism to happen around the world has a much better chance.
Sure.
The hope of America is churches filled with people that love Jesus and are being instructed by on-fire pastors.
Welcome back, folks. Craig Bouchon Show. Friday. Love Friday. I hope you're having a great Friday. If you got to work this weekend, well, sorry, but some of us do, and that's just the way it is. We have to keep the machine moving. But the fact is, folks, that there's a lot of good things that have happened. We've covered it on the show. Affirmative action is done, and you're going to see those dominoes fall across the country. Liberty is going to open up for the minorities, and we're all going to collectively get together, and we're going to help each other out. So, Eric Thompson, producer extraordinaire, you always have some questions, and you go ahead. We got a few minutes left, and I want to be able to at least give you my opinion on some of the things that are concerning you.
Well, I thought we would watch a short video here on this. The banking you just mentioned, all those big banks are all part of the World Economic Forum.
Yeah, that's right.
And coming out of COVID, this is what all of the major banks and all of the Bidens and King Charles and all of them, this is kind of what they're working for and their excuse for the rights they're trying to take away. So this is the Great Reset according to all those banks under the umbrella of the World Economic Forum.
Okay, let's do it.
So, Craig, do you think the world is that bad off that it actually needs a total reset?
No. And let me explain why. The United States of America, you could say, let's use us as an example. The wealthiest country in modern history by far, has some of the poorest people among us are some of the wealthiest people in the world, though they have tremendous challenges. Comparing it to people who live in Haiti, they're extremely wealthy. The United States of America is the beacon for people and what they should strive for. The Great Reset should be called the Great Give Up. It's the Great Give Up, the Great Quit, the Great We Couldn't Do It. The United States of America is not in that position. The United States of America is not Europe. It is not Asia. It is not the Philippines. It's not a country that is a third world country or a second world country. It is a first world country that's devolving because we're allowing the people who believe the Great Reset needs to happen for the whole globe because their business model doesn't work. Our business model does work. Ours has been twisted and manipulated by these people who want to destroy us because we're in the way. We're in the way of the Great Reset, the Great Quit, the Great Lie. We need to expand liberty across the world, not oppression. when you talk about digital currency and you talk about this one world order and doing this, all the power is at the top. And we've talked about the World Health Organization, how they would have 80 countries teamed up with them, and they're collectively going together and going to pass where people can go on their phone with a QR code and it's affecting your liberty. No, the United States of America, it was just proven in President Trump just a few years ago that when you focus in on the strengths of America and you hold those oppressive countries accountable for what they're doing, the Chinas of the world, the Russias of the world, you have Germany weren't putting any money in defending themselves against countries like Russia, and you can see what's happening in Ukraine. All the things that Trump warned us about or warned them about are happening now, okay, to them. That's why they're turning on, they got to have natural gas facilities, nuclear power stations opening back up, because what Trump said was true. What did Trump say? Trump said that the United States of America, make America great again, okay? What you saw in that video was countries saying, it's over. There's nothing we can do. It's a failure. And it is for them. That's exactly right. Their model doesn't work. Our model does work. The United States of America, look what happened in the Trump administration. Fuel dropped. Why? Because we empowered ourselves to use the assets that we have. We didn't have to go somewhere. We have to go rob somebody. We said, hey, guess what? Oh, let me open up this drawer. Hey, check that out. Wait, what do we got here? We got some wealth there. Let's use it. Let's go hold those people accountable over there that are using us and cheating us, and we're having to go bail them out because they're not doing their job. It's about accountability, right? So I believe, Eric, that this country, as we move forward now, affirmative action is now gone. And as we empower ourselves as Americans, as American, okay, and we sign the oath, and we get involved, and we invest in each other, we are the beacon of hope that Lincoln spoke about. We are the people who can help lead the world in this fallen world that the enemy wants to destroy. We, the people, can lead. And we can only lead when we're united, and we do it through the grace of God. Because remember, 65 to 70% of this country is Christian. Okay? And it is in God we trust, and we must move forward and teach the rest of the world by our actions how you win. And we're not going to do that by not protecting our sovereignty. We aren't going to do that by allowing our medical system to be destroyed by this infiltration of illegal activity by illegal aliens coming here, by the hospitals doing what they did during COVID, by not being able to buy healthcare across state lines. All this stuff that they said needs to be this great reset. No. We need to go. If there's any reset, it's going to be reset to our founding of the United States of America, not by giving our sovereignty over to some new world order. That's not going to work. And it's not going to happen on our watch, folks. It's not going to happen. So these people, these videos, there is no doubt about it that a lot of this world is all messed up. And their model does not work. Our model does work if we follow the model of our founders. Okay? And don't listen to these thieves. Okay? A liar is a thief of the truth. Okay? And they're going to take what we talked about earlier. They're not going to let any tragedy go to waste. So look how they had the COVID all over that, right? And the dead bodies and the thermostat and the forward-looking infrared FLIR imagery. Fear. Where was the optimism in there? No, it was fear-based. Everything was fear-based. No. It's the opposite. We have no fear. Hey, Eric, what does Scripture tell us about fear?
Well, fear fear is the opposite of faith. So fear is the lack of trust in God, and when you don't have God, you must be fearful because the world is evil.
That's right. And it's the World Economic Forum.
Well,
It
here's
is the
a quick.
World Health Organization.
Here's
It
a short.
isn't in God we trust.
Here's the real quick, a little bit video of why they're so mad at Trump, because this is what they expected to happen coming out of COVID.
Okay.
And this is the Great Reset. It's not a conspiracy. And this is what they, at their Davos, Switzerland agenda, real quick, this is what they expected the world to fall in line by 2021.
The world as we know it. And the actions we take today as we work to recover will define our generation.
Now is the time to think what history would say about this crisis.
And real quick, look at the people that are speaking. These are the global power brokers.
Sure.
2020 has been challenging on a lot of levels, as economic, environmental, and societal frailties have been laid bare. But it's also proved that when we need to, we can act rapidly and restructure our lives.
Recovery from the pandemic is an opportunity. We can see rays of hope in the form of a vaccine, but there is no vaccine for the planet. Nature needs a bailout.
You don't want to go back to the status quo that you had before simply because it was the status quo that got us here.
With everything falling apart, we can reshape the world in ways we couldn't before. Ways that better address so many of the challenges we face. And that's why so many are calling for a great reset. A great reset? That sounds more like buzzword bingo masking some nefarious plan for world domination. Hands up, this kind of slogan hasn't gone down well. But all we really want to say is that we all have an opportunity to build a better world. And it's not surprising that people who've been disenfranchised by a broken system.
And so the propaganda continues throughout the video, but you do notice they got, because of people like you, Craig, and other people that are stepping up, they got caught on the Great Reset.
That's right.
They're like, oh, this sounds like a conspiracy. We didn't do really well rolling this out.
Just kidding. Just
Oops.
Look, it's not that bad, folks.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
that's right.
It's not that bad. Look, we really do love you. Look,
Right.
Just step into this car over here. Yeah, follow the people into the car. Yeah, in the rail car. Yeah, and then they're going to take you to a better place where there's jobs and there's food. And you don't worry about it. We're just going to take the men first and then the young men, okay? And it's all going to be fine, folks. No. Make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen. It wasn't that long ago that a twisted and manipulative human being took people who were driven to a point in their life on purpose to make them desperate. So they ended up listening to a tyrant. Well, the tyrant today is the WHO, is the ESG, is the BlackRock, is the World Economic Forum, is the World Bank, the money, the power brokers. The United States of America is in the way. Our founders built the defense system for this country because of what they saw across history and what happened in countries all over the place. And they could see it right there what was happening with Great Britain, what they were doing, right? And this country is set up better than any country to ever exist to battle against what we're seeing today. And if we unite and we stand up, we can do the Great Reset, the real reset. And that's liberty. That's the United States of America using its God-given blessing of being a representative republic. And our job is to be that beacon of hope for the world. Our job is to be the beacon of hope for each other. Our job is to help everybody understand what the enemy is doing to them. Because make no mistake, folks, if the Chinese people who are slaves there and don't understand, they don't know what they need to know, there would be there would be a civil war. These people would be, well, first of all, unfortunately, many of them are so scared and so poor, there's nothing they could do about it. But you for sure would see a major decline in the workflow of those people there, because they would realize that, wait a second, this isn't the real world. We are oppressed. And that's happening right here in this country. And that's ended today with affirmative action. We had our own poverty. We had our own people being restricted to not having the liberty, that were enslaved in modern day slavery. So there's a lot of good things happening, folks. But you'll notice it comes down to us. And we have to have the right leaders in place. And so that the Great Reset and all the things that they want to do will not happen if the United States of America does what she can do. And we're going to do it, folks. I want to thank you so much, folks. I know we're a couple minutes over, but that's okay. We're going to see you on Monday. We got 4th of July coming up. Exciting times. Got a special show for 4th of July. I really hope that you tune in for that. And enjoy your weekend. Eric, I want to thank you so much, my friend.
You too, my friend.
God bless.